Hello Factorio people, welcome back to the broadcasts from Space Age. Episode 11. Last time we got started on Fulgora. Today we're going to hopefully finish up on Fulgora. A small little piece of housekeeping. I got some new neighbours, and they are quite literally tearing their place down. There's hammers involved, there's a bath in the front garden now. I think they're just emptying the whole shell of the house so that they can just start from scratch. So if you hear banging, you know, sawing, they're being very loud. I can only apologise. This is the best time for me to record, unfortunately. So we'll just deal with it. If you want to do the old like, comment, subscribe for me, that would be great. Other than that, we'll jump straight into it, shall we? Alright, this was Fulgora at the state that we left it. We're going full bot base for Fulgora. Seems to make the most sense. My original playthrough I used belts and it ended up being a bit of a nightmare, a bit of a headache. So we're going to go bot base for Fulgora. We got the bootstrappy stuff done. And we've got access to the electromagnetic plants, so now we can start working our way towards the electromagnetic science packs and getting all of that good stuff done. But first of all, we need, my favourite thing of all, we need a brief housekeeping phase, because this is not quite enough accumulators. Electromagnetic plants are very power hungry, even with these efficiency modules in. They are still using 400, almost 500 kilowatts each, half a megawatt each. It's kind of a lot. It's kind of a lot. So yeah, let's do a brief housekeeping phase, move these accumulators over here. I've done a really bad job of making a symmetrical accumulator pattern, so let's do that. Yeah. Alright, so we'll move the accumulators, we'll just add some more miners just to cover as much of this patch as possible, but we are going to not use this patch forever. It's very light in comparison to both this one and this one. They're in the 80 million mark. We can make accumulators in the electromagnetic plants now for 50% extra productivity, so we'll do a very easy, simple accumulator farm over here. It may have been better to explore a bit further away from spawn and try and find, you know, this island was actually maybe a bit better to have built on. And it's also possible that this would breach to here with a power pole or two. Although I'd be surprised. Can't see the grid without actually being there. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that map generation makes it so it's very difficult to bridge islands like that with the power. The idea is to use like sort of self-contained factories and things. Okay. We've also done a small bit of work on Vulcanus to get cliff explosives going. Very slowly. I want way more than that. I want way more than 20 of them. Cliff explosives are fairly easy to make, except for the fact they need calcite. Where are they? There they are. Explosives, easy. Barrels, easy. Grenades, easy. Well, I say easy. Grenades and explosive both need coal, which you can't get on Fulgora at all, but thankfully you don't really need to worry about cliffs on Fulgora that much. Would be nice to, like, get rid of stuff like this, but that is not really an option available to us until we get advanced asteroid processing, which we don't get until Gleba. Which is making me think that maybe you just want to go to Gleba first. Get advanced asteroid processing done, because advanced asteroid processing is actually really, really, really strong. It changes. I mean, we'll cover this when we actually go to Gleba, but I was just thinking out loud. It lets you get iron and copper from metallic asteroid chunks. It lets you get carbon and sulfur from the carbonic asteroid chunks, and it lets you get calcite. So the end goal really for me is to have a platform above each planet dropping down calcite so that we can do things like foundries, Because of course you need calcite to turn ores into liquid versions of themselves, which are much more efficient because then they work in a foundry. Anyway, we're getting really off the deep end here in terms of a long-term plan. The other small thing I've done, I can't remember if I did this in the last episode or not, but I'm now using some of the copper wires that we get from the scrap with the preponderance of iron plates that we seem to be getting to make green circuits, rather than recycling. I did do this, I spoke about this last time. Rather than recycling processing units, we'll just make green circuits in an electromagnetic plant. But we don't... This will become more obvious why I've done this later, when I start needing more plastic. So as an exercise to the reader, you can try and work out what I'm going to talk about. Okay, right, so... we are in a pretty good spot now to just start expanding, methinks. So let's see what's next. So next on the list is getting access to electromagnetic science by making capacitors and conductors. Again, both the recipes are very simple, especially with the logistic spot system. Superconductors need light oil. I'm going to do that in barrels, just because I also set a limitation for myself to move fluids around in barrels where possible. Just because it makes things a bit easier to plan. You know, the throughput of barreling and unbarreling is very fast. You can unbarrel almost 4 a second for a total of 200 of the fluid. Because all of the barreling recipes have the same input-output. You can't see that in that list, but you can see it in this list. 50, 50, 50, 50 of everything, basically. So yeah, so the barrel throughput is always the same. We need some more water by melting ice, but we've done that before. Ah, we've run out of power, so clearly we need more accumulators as well. The electromagnetic plants, they can chain their fluids together as well, which is even more of a nice reason to do it like this, because then if we ever want another one of these, we can do our V and H flipping and clipping to just chain the fluid through, which you can see is what I've done up here for the supercapacitors, which need the superconductors as an ingredient, but they also need this electrolyte fluid, which you can't barrel, which needs the holmium, some heavy oil, and some stone. Obviously stone, we're getting a preponderance of stone from the scrap process, and the heavy oil we get from the heavy oil ocean on Fulgora, source of infinite heavy oil. The challenge here really is working out your ratios of things, because you need holmium fluid to make plates, you need some holmium fluid to make the electrolyte fluid, and then you need the electrolyte fluid to make the capacitors, but then you also need both electrolyte fluid and holmium solution to make electromagnetic science packs. If you're doing this without mods because you're looking to get Steam achievements, then it can be quite a headache to work out exactly how much of this you need. But if we use our most fabulous rate calculator mod here, click and drag over... what are you doing here? Click and drag over this, we can see that what we've got at the moment is almost correct in terms of super capacitors a second, just about enough electrolyte. But then this electrolyte is 8 holmium solution a second, which we're getting 33 a second from the 4 labs. We need most of that to make the 4 holmium plates a second, and then the holmium plates go back into here. Thankfully this whole contraption only needs 1, so this foundry is over producing plates. So now that this chest is full, it's fine. It will sort of sort itself out. The most important ratio really is when you hover over one of your recyclers, and you can see over there in the corner 0.04 holmium ore a second. And if we use our rate calculator over all of this, we can see that, let's just change it to a minute, just to be sure, 43.2 holmium ore a minute. So you really need to be making sure that whatever that number is, you can process that much in your chemical plants. These are in fact overproducing at the moment, but that's because we've put speed modules in things. You can't prod module these, see? But eventually you get a scrap recycling productivity which sort of helps things along. So that's really the main thing to keep an eye on with this whole process, is to just make sure that your holmium ore usage matches your scrap recycling. Right, so then now we've got everything we need to make the electromagnetic science pack, supercapacitors, accumulators, and the two fluids. We can have a quick look at what that actually will get us. One of these with the prod modules, and again I really recommend using the prod modules for at least this science pack. I know we haven't really prod moduled much of anything else, but putting in 5 productivity module Mark IIs into an electromagnetic science pack changes it from 50% to 80% productivity. So, you know, you buy one, you get one free. I said, you buy one, you get one free. That does, however, slow them down by quite a lot and increase their power consumption by quite a lot. But if we want to aim for our 72, 75-ish science packs a minute, which should be what we're getting on Now Vs now that we're up to green assemblers, yellow assemblers and things, yeah, 75 a minute, we're going to need 7 of these in a row, which is another 1000 holmium solution, another 1000 electrolytes, 42 supercapacitors, which is why I've built this many, because this makes 43.2. It's like I was ready the whole time. And power continues to be a problem, as we saw. Get rid of this housekeeping phase. This housekeeping phase is done and dusted. Have I changed Folgora yet? Yes. Cliff explosive production was far too slow. It was far too slow. So I've expanded. I've expanded the assemblers, but I am yet to apparently realise that that means I also need to expand the explosive production, and it's kind of just spaghettied its way in here. But let's just, you know, use some just for fun, so you can see what's going on. This says 63 cliff explosives. I always find that the deconstruction planner hugely overestimates the amount of cliff explosives you actually need. So this says 49, but I think that's because it's like counting each individual instance of a cliff entity, like each one of these X's, but then one cliff explosive will blow up more than one X. They'll arrive in a minute, don't worry. I really want to get rid of that flashing light, but I know the second I press the button they'll show up. Okay, I got it. Where are they? There they are. Here they come. Here comes the army. Oh, they need charging. Lazy. Kaboom! Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's pretty satisfying, isn't it? So what did we say? 49, that said. And we just used... surely more than 3. Oh, that's production. That's production. Come on, we used 19 in the last minute. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it overestimates it by at least a factor of 2. And it's very easy to make them on Vulcanus, which is good, because Vulcanus has a hell of a lot of cliffs. Can't see any of that. But they're also not very good at shipping around. So I could bring myself a modicum of cliff explosives, you know, just to like do this, but doesn't really seem hugely relevant. Alright, let's make some electromagnetic science packs, shall we? Oh, the power ran out literally just as I changed scenes. That's embarrassing. We do need more accumulators. Oh, this is why. I realised this. I thought I'll leave it because I'll bring it up in the thing. Make sure when you build your accumulator farms that you actually connect the power networks up. So, like, that would help quite a lot. So I built all of these accumulators and then never actually connected them to the base. Okay, electromagnetic science packs. Easy. You need more accumulators than this, which I am yet to work out. This makes 50 accumulators a minute. This needs... Oh no, it is right. It is... Oh, we still ran out of power. Mostly the issue is that I've put prod module 2s into all of these, so each one of these is using over 8 megawatts of power, which is kind of a lot. But thankfully, as we've established on Vulcanus, it is Fulgora rather, it is very, very, very easy to... I can't remember where I ended up putting this. Tell me I made them in an electromagnetic plant and not. It is very, very, very easy to make both modules and beacons, because all of the ingredients for those things you can just get directly from scrap, and they are made in the electromagnetic plants, which give you 2 times productivity. 50% productivity, I should say. So it's very, very, very easy to just get some beacons. And beacons are extremely good. Like, they were already very good in Factorio 1, but now they're like even better. Somehow. Because their distribution efficiency, I'm sure, was never as high as 1.5. I think they were on 0.5. They halved the effect of the modules. But they're also, yeah, transmitted effect is stronger at higher qualities, but they also, the more... They're on diminishing returns. So, like, the first 1 or 2 beacons impart a huge effect in comparison to 1 beacon from Factorio 1.1. So, this has 1 beacon affecting it, and that is already lowering its power 120%. Distribution efficiency 1.5, 2... I wish there was a... There's not really a good way to see exactly what this is doing, is there? Like... Beacons times 1. Beacon times 2, 70.71%. 70.71% each. So yeah, they have a diminishing return. But, you know, it's not difficult to just do this, and we'll see in the electronics chart more than anything. I was going to say, look at that! But that's because the accumulators are android. Well, what a poor test. These, of course, use some power on their own, but much, much, much less than what you're saving from this. So these have now gone down to... Well, we won't know until the power comes back up, will we? So... You only need 2 Efficiency Mark II modules to hit the 80% limit in these, which gives you an extra 3 slots for... I mean, it doesn't really give you extra slots, if it kind of does, because the other modules increase power usage, so if you put a speed module in, you still then need the 3rd one to counteract that effect. And that still doesn't take it down to minus 80, but, you know. Alright, power's back on, let's have a look. Electromagnetic plants. They're drilling next door! 176 megawatts down to 143 megawatts. at its peak, at least. So it's definitely worth doing. Obviously, it just, you know, make more power. And we can do that. We can do various things to make more power. Solid fuel, we just have loads of it, and we don't have much of a use for it. If you remember from last time, we've got our little contraption here that just recycles stuff that has more than 20,000 of anything in the network. Concrete, we don't really use. Iron gear wheels we do use, we turn that into iron. But we've got loads of iron, because we are now recycling low density structures, because we need the plastic. Because we need plastic to make superconductors. So we're recycling low density structures, which gives us even more steel. And then that steel ends up being recycled into iron. But we've also got a lot of iron because... why? Why do we just have generally iron everywhere? So we're recycling gear... oh, it's because we've got loads of gear wheels, that's why. So we're just constantly recycling gear wheels because we're hitting more than 20,000 of them, and those are turning into iron plates, and then eventually we're going to have 20,000 iron plates soon. So we're just going to be recycling those down into nothing. And solid fuel, yeah, solid fuel and concrete are really the two things that we're just sort of accumulating and don't really have a use for. So we could also, like, build some steam turbines and just get some steam power going. I guess we could do that. The main issue, though, which we'll notice soon, is that this needs 42 accumulators. 2 electromagnetic plants can make 42 accumulators, but need 168 batteries. 2 belts of scrap recycling will not give you that many batteries. Yes, it will. Oh no, it will. No, it won't, because these are on these are over beacon. These are over moduled. This is actually more than 2 red belts of scrap. This is 2.4 red belts of scrap. So that's 2.1. That's 151 batteries. So we need to think about maybe making some more batteries, which is annoying but doable because we've got iron plates, we've got copper plates easily. It's a sulfuric acid. We'd have to just make more water and petroleum. Petroleum is not a problem providing because you've got infinite heavy oil. It's more getting the water that is the issue. But we are currently recycling ice. We've got more than 20,000 ice, so we may as well do something. Think about doing something like that. But now that we're making all of these electromagnetic science packs, we need to get them in a rocket and get out of here, don't we? And that's easy enough. The only thing we don't really have is rocket fuel. But rocket fuel is easy enough because we get solid fuel from the scrap. We're making light oil anyway, making loads of light oil over here. Barrels of the stuff. And then we were already making electric engine units because we were making robot frames at one point. Seem to have stopped doing that now. So let's make some rockets. Alright, the first silo is up. I'm going to want 2 silos. But we'll just leave the assembly machine ticking over. Just needs to get electric engine units, unfortunately. We'll leave that ticking over. I just plopped rocket fuel here. Just bring solid fuel. I used a belt. Okay, sue me. I could have done an individual chest and yellow chest for each one, but I figured I would just do it like this because it, you know, it uses so little solid fuel. And I do want to be vaguely aware of the fact that logistics robots flying everywhere is going to make the YouTube video kind of hard to watch. And I did the same. I did what I said I would do down here for some steam power. If you have 6 chemical plants melting ice, you get 120 water per second, which will feed 20 steam turbines. Sorry, it will feed 20 boilers, which will give you enough steam to fill 20 steam turbines. It's just this is going to go soon, sooner rather than later. because we're also making the elevated rails and stuff, because we're going to attach this scrap pile and probably this scrap pile and bring them in via train, because these will last hundreds of hours compared to this, which will eventually run out. And we need to be on this planet to do elevated rails. We can't really do it the robots because we can't build anything in the ocean, in the oil ocean, ever. So unlike Vulcanus, we can't 100% guarantee that we can expand here without being on the planet. So we'll definitely get that sorted. We've got the Fulgora shuttle waiting in orbit. Again, no issues with the travel. The more projectile damage we research, the easier the travel becomes. You can see there's just belts of yellow ammo. It's totally fine. Got the Fulgora shuttle request going. All we need to do is just tick the box that says automatic requests from space platforms, and 1,000 of the science will make its way. So we will watch the rocket launch, and then we will queue up some, well, while we're watching the rocket launch, we should queue up some Nalvis science. The Fulgoran sciences tend to be a bit more expensive. I remember the Vulcanus ones, we got 4 out of the first 2,000 science packs that we got, 4 that were 500 each, whereas the good ones here are a bit more expensive. And obviously the good one is mech armor, which is 5,000! Personal batteries Mark III are kind of cheap. Personal Roboport Mark IIs are okay, but we want these for sure. And rail support foundations maybe. Quality module Mark IIIs probably. We'll want them all eventually, of course, but it's just about getting the good ones early. And you can see I've already prepped here for personal batteries Mark III. The upside of the parameterization blueprint is that you can pick absolutely anything, whether you've researched it or not, and then it will just become available once it's done. You don't get that option by just clicking an assembler. The assembler is still limited to what you can build based on your current research progress, which is fair enough. But yeah, so the all parameterization blueprint comes in clutch once again. And this is the first shipment of electromagnetic science. Easy as you like. Easy as you like. This mod's so cool. Visible planets in space, by the way, if you don't remember. Okay. We'll just wait for another 1,000. Oh, there's another 1,000 ready to go already. Okay, and then we'll send the science off to Nalvis. And the lab sushi, if you remember the lab sushi from the last episode, is just gonna let the whole thing work. We future-proofed it, basically. Just need to actually put a request for these in. What I'm gonna do, what would make some sense, more sense, the more time passes, is to up these requests so that the shuttle has a chance to go and get 2,000 more and come back before it runs out. On Nalvis, I mean. When this is only set to 200, that means that the shuttle is not leaving Nalvis until there are less than 200 science packs on Nalvis, which when you're researching 75 science per minute means that the shuttle only gets a couple of minutes to go to Fulgora and back, which it doesn't have. So these 200 ones are a bit low, in my opinion, so I'm going to make them 1,000. The space science one is really irrelevant because it's floating above us anyway, in Bron Star. The star is Bron. And this has just been working totally flawlessly since we built it. I don't think I've even had the need to come back up here. It just works. So we will let these researchers tick over and continue to keep an eye and make sure that everything is working as expected. Do some busy work while we're waiting. Alright, we got this. We got some cool stuff to play around with. We got personal battery Mark IIIs. They take a lot of batteries to make, but that's okay. We got some in the end. Oops, don't do that. So these are in the personal armor now, but the personal armor isn't long for this world anyway. And then we're also making some personal Roboport Mark IIs. It's kind of a bit weird. You like, as soon as you research it, you think, oh, I want to make some, but then you realise that there's no real point in making them here, because when we leave, we're going to have to leave all of our robots behind anyway. So, but you may as well make them and put them in the armour at the very least. One personal Roboport Mark II gives you 25 robots compared to just the 10 from this, so even before we think about changing to the mech armour, we will gain an extra. So we're on 60 robots now, but we'll go up to 150, which is huge. Which is also why we need the extra personal batteries. This might even in fact be overkill for the personal batteries, but whatever, we've got them now. I also added some more modules and beacons to this set of electromagnetic plants, because these are working fairly consistently now. And I still did need to add more power. Why aren't you doing anything? And I've also put down where I'm pretty sure, and ends up not being correct, but where I'm pretty sure I'm going to unload the trains for the scrap train when it comes in. Sorry, I just forgot every single English word that I knew there, which is all of them. If you bring up the ghost thing and hold shift, ghost planner for the rails, and hold shift, you can drag your cursor as far as you like and it will do its best to plan where it's going to go. If you only click it and don't hold shift, you can only do one rail segment at a time, so it's kind of irrelevant to do that because you're not necessarily sure which way your rails are going to go. You can then tap R while you're doing that to rotate the end point of that rail, so that you can at least like maybe point it in a direction that is more relevant to your needs. There is also a research that lets you build on the deep ocean rail support foundations. It needs the Vulcanus science packs as well, so you can't do that straight away if you come to Volgora first, but in the order we've done it, we can do that. So for now, we're only able to build on the shallow side, but we can fix that quite easily. And we're still just kind of waiting, because we want the mech armor before we leave. The mech armor has to be built here? No, that's not true. That's not true at all. The superconductors and the supercapacitors have to be built here, but there's nothing stopping you from leaving Volgora, I guess, at this point. And but there is something. Oh, I can't remember exactly what it is. What is it that I'm thinking of that has to be built here that we definitely want? It's not quality module Mark IIIs. Don't remember. I don't remember. Yeah. Alright, so we'll just let these big researches start ticking up as well. Shouldn't be a huge amount of time. It says an hour and 10 minutes, but I don't think that's correct. I think something's going wrong over here that's causing that issue. Oh yes, that's right. It's because we're now pretty much in the 60-second research territory now, like basically everything at this point. Oh, except for rail foundations, yeah, that shut me up. A lot of things are going to be 60 science a second now, so you actually want a few more labs than this, because this is only 67 science per minute, whereas we're making 75 science per minute as we've established, so we actually could do with expanding this across by one more set of science labs. That would definitely speed up the process, because this shouldn't take an hour and 10 minutes. I'm pretty sure it did take an hour and 10 minutes to do that. And if that's 5,000, that's 2,000, and that's 2,000, that's like 2 hours. I'm pretty sure it did take me 2 hours to research all of that. So let me skip forward in time and see. But let's also just look at this. It's nice, isn't it? I like the odd bot base, the odd logistics bot base. Like, I know it's almost borderline cheating, you know, that you don't have to worry too much about the logistical challenges of belts and inserters and splitters and things like that, but I do honestly think that Fulgura is designed to be played like this. The limited space, the ridiculous amount of stuff that you get from scrap that has to be sorted, you know. When we get the very, very late game tech foundations, which I never actually got in my blind playthrough, I just got to the solar system edge and stopped. I never made a single Prometheum science pack. When we can make foundations and we can build anywhere, lava, oil, ocean and most water, and we can just expand our land masses to be as big or as small as we want, we will definitely make everything with belts, because the throughput of belts, especially stacked belts, will just be so high compared to robot logistics. But for now, being able to get absolutely everything you need on one small island on Fulgura is the way to go, I think, in my opinion. Okay, the mech armor is researched. Didn't take that long. Let's build it. Top tip: take everything out of your personal armor before you build it. Before you build with it. Because, yes, that's right, it can go about as badly as you imagine. You use it as an ingredient, and I haven't actually tested this in 2.0 to be fair, so let's test it now. Mech armor requires 100 processing units. I was going to say I should just use the logistics bots for this. There's no easy way to request everything at once. We'll just shop around. It'll take me just as long to walk around and shop by hand than it will to put a blueprint request in a chest. 50 superconductors. Good, I was going to say there better be some. 50 supercapacitors. And the power armor Mark II. So, if you take the power armor out of your thing and you put it in your inventory, you can suddenly make it. And it used to be that if you click this, that was it. All of that stuff in that armor disappeared. Ah, that's a nice quality of life change. That's the first time I've actually been bothered to test that. Okay. Oh, we're walking so slowly now. I stopped building the personal RoboPort things after a certain amount because you don't really need that many. And again, it's not like you can't really ship them anywhere. I've got a rocket capacity of 2. The second rocket is done, which is helpful. I don't know whether at this point yet I've added... No, I do want to add some extra shutter requests for the important things that we can only build on Fulgura, i.e. electromagnetic plants. But unlike Vulcanus, Fulgura, it does behoove you to send up these items as well, because these items are used in Quality Module Mark IIIs, which don't have to be made. Created the first mech armor at 38 hours, 41 minutes and 17 seconds. Yes! And it is only just now, 11 episodes in, that I realise I've not set myself to a brighter shade of orange. There we go. How good is the mech armor? It lets you just walk. If something's in the way, you go over it. It has an equipment grid of this size, even before you mess around with quality. Which is, you know, huge. Let's give ourselves 8. That is definitely not the way to lay those out. Like, definitely not the way to lay those out, because you want to be able to put exoskeletons in. We'll give ourselves another 2 exoskeletons. The night vision armor goes there. Belt immunity equipment goes there. And then we'll fill these up with 3 token portable solar panels. So we need 2 more exoskeletons, but that's fine. and obviously we'll still be moving slowly until our fission reactors charge all of the roboports, but just for now I'll take them out just so that we can move a bit faster, because the other thing I will show you is that the train thing is in. One train goes south to this island, the other train goes east to that island. Still need some accumulators on this one, but this is still a decent number of accumulators to power this island anyway. Mine directly into the train. It does not take that long. The mech armor also stops you from getting hit by trains, which is huge as well. And then they're double-headed trains, two-headed trains. So as long as you signal it in a sensible way, and you give each one of these a train limit of 1, so they're both called scrap, but because they have a train limit of 1, this train will not pathfind to this station because there is a train there. So it will come here, and then this signalling stops 2 trains from occupying this section at the same time. So worst case scenario, a train waits here, it can't get into this station, then this train leaves and it pathfinds to the other station because it won't pathfind past this train. Foolproof, I believe. And then this is how we're unloading the train, just to make sure we get 2 full belts out of it. This is not quite enough to saturate a red belt, it's certainly won't be enough to saturate a blue belt, but trains! You'd love to see it. And then once we've done the rail support foundations, we can just make this route a little bit tidier. Not that it really matters. Not that it really matters. Right, so what's the other thing we want to do is we want to ask for... We want to take some electromagnetic plants to Nalvis for sure, because those will be very, very helpful in helping us to get more green, red and processing units. 5 in a rocket, 20. We can do better than that. 50, go on. Maybe that's incorrect, I don't know. What else do we make here that we want? Oh yeah, I was talking about this and I didn't finish my thought, did I? The supercapacitors and superconductors, unlike the special Vulcanus items, go into more things that you can definitely just make on Nalvis. So I never ship tungsten plates or tungsten carbide around until the very, very late game, when you start needing quantum processors. And even then I just send them to Aquilo. I guess they need to be made in speed modules. Because what they're mostly used for is stuff that you can only build on Fulgora, namely green belts and science packs. Whereas the supercapacitors go into fusion reactors, they go into the mech armor, they go into personal batteries. None of these things, Tesla turrets, for when you're playing with when you're not playing in peaceful mode. I made lots of Tesla turrets in my first playthrough. None of these things actually need to be made on Fulgora. There are very few things that absolutely have to be made on Fulgora, strangely. So we will also ask for some... Press the wrong button there. Continue to press the wrong buttons. We'll also ask for some superconductors, and these are 1,000 in a rocket, so sure, why not? And we'll ask for some supercapacitors, 1,000 in a rocket. Oh no, 500 in a rocket, but we'll ask for 1,000. And I've done this with a Vulcanus shuttle as well. And this will slow down how long it takes to get the science the first time it makes the trip. Because it has to, you know, this is 1 rocket launch, this is 2 rocket launches, this is 10 rocket launches. But then providing you just leave those items in the shuttle, it's only then when you deposit them at another planet that it tops them up, obviously. So I don't recommend that you ask your Nalvis cargo bay to request 50 electromagnetic plants every single time the shuttle comes back, but just if it's got 50 on it, then the next time you realise you need them, it can just drop them off. I moved accumulator production over here because I was using a lot of accumulators for this, and expanding this, and these accumulators up here as well. Oh no, those have been there for ages, but I realised that the throughput issue actually was not the number of assemblers, it was batteries. Because we need 42 assemblers for this, but assemblers are also going into something else. Why do I always do that? Oh, of course they go... Wait, that's not right. Where are they all going? Anyway, I feel like I needed to make some batteries, or at least I wanted to make some batteries, because I wanted to just kill some time while Rail Support Foundations went over. Got researched, so... And research has in fact stopped, because I've asked the Fulgora shuttle to wait for this, so this is exactly what I was talking about. But anyway, we'll make some batteries just to bolster accumulator production. And then we should be in a good spot to just leave Fulgora, in theory. I also covered the whole island in concrete because, you know, when in Rome. I expanded, sorted this out, yeah, got rid of these, sorted this out, so this is now the 20 steam turbines. They don't contribute a huge amount, but they at least stop us from completely blacking out overnight. Not that that happens anymore either. You can see that we've got about twice as much power as we need, but that might all change if everything decides it's going to start working all at the same time. The rail foundations thing was done, so I just made these lines a bit nicer. Never finished that before I left, but oh well. And then batteries, yeah, so it's just a bit more water. Heavy oil and water into light oil and water into petroleum, petroleum into sulfur, sulfur into sulfuric acid into batteries, just to get some extra batteries. So we're ready to go. I'm pretty confident that nothing will break. In terms of what the base storage is looking like, it's stone, iron plates, iron gear wheels, solid fuel. We're about to hit the cap of advanced circuits. I spent all the concrete already. You obviously have to be a bit careful that you don't end up with more than 20,000 of something that you just definitely want to keep. Like, it'd be a bit foolish to just keep stockpiling supercapacitors and then hitting more than 20,000 and then scrapping them. Which isn't possible, obviously, because I've just said to stop working when you hit 2,000. But you know, that is a consideration. If you're thinking, oh, I'll just stockpile this forever, then of course, worst case scenario is that your scrap processing, your voiding system, I should say, the system that just gets rid of anything that is too abundant, scraps all that stuff anyway. So the same with holmium plates. Like, holmium plates are extremely precious. No reason to ever void them. And that's why this chest is just the only chest I'll have with it. Like, I could do 2 chests even. But as long as you don't stockpile more than 20,000. There probably is a good way to, like, do a blacklist of things that you don't want to count. How would you do that? Let's quickly theorycraft that. I guess you would do a combinator before, and then that combinator would be each. And then if each of the signals does not equal, and then you would do a blacklist, I guess, of this. Then you would output that signal. So you would just do that for each of the thing, I suppose. I can't think of a good example. Barrels of water, for example. I think that would work. But I'm not sure. Right, so yeah, we're done. We're done on Fulgora. Fulgora shuttle is... Oh, recyclers, of course. Recyclers have to be made on Fulgora. That's the one thing that I forgot to mention this whole time. Recyclers do have to be made on Fulgora. So it's really only recyclers and electromagnetic plants that you need to worry too much about sending. And I decided that 20 was enough. 50 was far, far too many. So we're just waiting on the last shipment of electromagnetic science packs, and then we're going to leave Fulgora. Got rid of all of the cliffs in the... this housekeeping item has long been spoken about. Yeah, and then we're going to go back to Nalvis, do what we can on Nalvis with our electromagnetic plants, and recyclers mostly just for quality purposes, and I don't want to really think about quality for a little while yet, but, you know, maybe. So that's the entire Fulgoran base. Pretty good. Pretty good. No blueprints for this episode. Because why? You don't need them. It's all just this more parameterization blueprint, basically, and some tying together of some pipes and things. But you don't need blueprints for this. The foolproof recycling is in the blueprint thing already. The bootstrapping from the last episode is in there. Someone did mention about why am I using, for the auto robot insertion, why am I using maximum robots, total robots, rather than available robots? And I find that often when you do that, if you say, oh, if there are fewer than Z, so if you say there are fewer than 10 construction robots to do a job, then if you give the robots a very large job, you know, and obviously the answer to that is just don't give them a very large job. If you give them a very large job, then you can sort of get stuck in this loop where new robots enter the system, try to go and do a job. So like already we're on none available, right? So these robots enter the roboport, they immediately leave to go and do the job. And they can get caught in like loops of then going to do the next part of the job but needing to charge before they do that. And because you've asked so many robots to do such a large job, they all then end up coalescing at roboports and trying to charge, but they can't charge because there's so many robots trying to charge at once, right? So you end up adding more and more and more and more robots because, you know, like this is still going, and it's going to go for a long time because there's still 510 jobs that need doing. So unless you've got a much better system on this, like these are now coming down here to charge. Wow, this copper thing is almost run out. I just don't... It's too risky, right? So like we've currently doubled the number of construction robots we've added to the system. We've caused a huge spike in power production because all of these robots now need charging. Arguably this spike would have happened regardless because we've asked 250 robots to do the job. But what I thought we would see... Let me open editor mode, and here's your episodic check for the fact that I've not cheated on editor mode. Surfaces. I want to go to Nalvis, current surface Nalvis. Speed the game up. We should, in theory, start to see stuff, yeah, like this. Lots of robots all... Also, it didn't actually... Nothing actually horrendous happened that time. But how many robots did we add before? So we added another 250 robots before it all sorted itself out. Let's do something absolutely mental. Oh, I'm in editor mode. Of course. course, if you try and delete things in editor mode like that, then it just... Oh god! Oh god! Oh god! If you're in editor mode and you do a big delete thing like that, it does actually just get rid of it. This is more likely to be what's going to cause the problem. Which of course is insane that you would ever do that, but you might do it, you know, you might just tear down the whole base. So, yes, I guess the answer is you could do it. I just personally don't do it because I find that if I'm going to give my robots a large job, I'm okay with that large job taking a little while. It's a large job after all. And I don't want my assembler to suddenly add 1,000 robots for one large job and then never need that many construction robots ever again. Anyway, horrible flashing images warning. Let me just load the save. Just... Okay, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please let me know with a like or a comment. I know we're not in the same position we were before, but let's at least start travelling to give this episode some sort of conclusion. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please let me know with a like or a comment, and if you want to see more broadcasts from Space Age, be sure to subscribe. Next time we will do a little bit of housekeeping on Nauvis, I suppose, and then we'll make our way to Gleba. Hooray! I guess I should maybe ask the Vulcan shuttle, seeing as it's not been doing anything for a little while now, to go and pick up some green belts. We'll take some green belts to Gleba. We'll start with green belts, but we'll see how I feel about that. Alright, take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.